Now we're going to start the heavy composition work. This is where we bring in other images and combine them using masks and blending modes to create new items. The two things that we're going to create right now is we're going to blend different types of images to create the stone bedrock here, and then we're also going to create a shadow along the lip of our impossible sea. So let's go ahead and open up our donor images. We're going to go to File, Open, and we're looking in the donor image file that we unzipped, and we have one called Omega Natural Gray Stone. So we're going to open that up. Now you can use either of the methods we spoke about earlier to bring this image over. You can hit Control A, Control C, and then go over to your other image and Control V. Or you can just click, holding your move tool, click, hold, keep holding that click down until you get that base shape open, and then drop it here. So I've got this in my space. This bedrock has to go the entire length of this bottom part of my shape. So it's not going to fit. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of transformation. Remember, our transformation shortcut is Control T to transform. And we can do all kinds of things from this one. I'm going to rotate this. If I get into the corner, you'll see that you get a little circle cornered out arrow, and that means I can rotate from here as well. There are special rotate tools, but you don't need them because it's already built in to the transform tool. And I just want this bedrock line to kind of match that angle. So now I've got it there. I'm just going to drag this out. Again, I don't usually recommend upsizing. However, because this is all going to kind of blend together, it'll be okay. All right, so now that I've got it covering that whole white section at the bottom, I'm going to hit Enter to lock it in. And the problem is oh my gosh, it's covering up everything. I need to, if only I had a selection, right? Well, you do. So we're going to click on the base selection, and I can see, oh yes, that's going to fit right inside that path very nicely. And I'm going to turn that into a selection by clicking the selection button at the bottom of my paths palette. Remember, it's just a smart selection. That's all it is. I put all of my selections in this little file cabinet, and I can pull them out whenever I need them. So now that I have that selected, I can mask this out simply by coming back to my layers palette and hitting the mask button. Remember, black conceals, white reveals. So what I just did with that selection is I told Photoshop, I want to reveal this part and I want you to hide everything else. And that's exactly what it did. Look what it did up here. I didn't have to create the mask. I didn't have to go back to my pen tool. All I had to know is that my selections live here in the paths palette and make my life easier. So I've got this one all cut out. It fits in beautifully. It matches up perfectly. No issues whatsoever. So now I want to bring another item to kind of layer on top of this because it doesn't look very real right now. I'm going to blend another type of texture on top of this to make it look like striated types of soil. So let's go back to our donor images. I'm going to File, Open. And I have one here called Sandstone Surface. I'm going to open that up. And the same thing that I did last time, I'm just going to click, hold, and drag and drop. Now this one's very bright. We're going to have to do something with this, but we'll talk about that in a second. Remember, Control T will bring up our transformation tool, and I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. I'm just going to position it to where it is covering that whole base on the bottom. And now that I have it positioned correctly, I'm going to click on base. I'm going to turn it into a selection. And then I'm just going to mask it out. How cool is that? So here's the thing. This one is covering up this one. So I only want a little bit of this to show, and I want the two to blend together. Well, I know how to do that. I'm going to hit the base one more time. I'm going to select that one more time. And here's why I'm going to do that. Because these magic ants create a force field. And I can color like nobody's business. And it will not go outside of the lines. It's a magic force field. So on my mask, with black ink, I'm going to get my brush. And I still have a watercolor brush, so I'm going to switch this back over to one of my natural brushes, my round brushes with a really soft edge, because that soft edge will give me a very nice blend. And I want it to be kind of big here, maybe a little bit bigger than that. There we go. Now, because I'm painting on my mask, anywhere I paint black, it is going to conceal the sandstone. So I want that omega gray to kind of show through the bottom here. So really easily, let's see, I'm just gonna tap, 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 and tap a little bit more. And what I'm doing is I am revealing a little bit of that gray while I'm leaving a little bit of that sandstone. Now, my brush is kind of big, so I'm gonna make my brush a little bit smaller. And just see if I can't get this to look a little bit better. There we go. And what I'm doing right now is I'm blending this layer and this layer together to kind of create a striated look. Now that I've got it where I want it, I can Control D to kill the ants. And now I have bedrock. Now I still need to work on my shadows and I still need to work on a little bit of texturing, but it's starting to come together very nicely.